You're listening to Heroes in the Moment. What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And I'm Nathan.
And today we're doing our weekly recap number 44.
44, baby!
And now I know we're still in the midst of the writers and acting strikes and stuff, so there's not a whole lot of news, just one piece of news today, but it's still hype nonetheless.
It is hype.
And then after we get done with that, we're going to have a little special thing we're going to discuss about, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So
okay.
So we're going to get to our news right off the bat. So first off, I saw this, and I was shocked when I saw this. And Thomas Haden Church, who played Sandman in Spider-Man 3, he came out and said that apparently there's been talks of Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi directing in development. And he wants to be a part of it as a cameo of some capacity.
I mean, he gotta be. It's gonna make $1 billion. You gotta fight for that movie.
Man, dude, it would make so much money.
Would it be Sony?
It would have to be. I mean,
did they make the? They made the original
trilogy.
Yeah.
This was one of the first, out and about superhero movies that are like really defined the genre of what it is today. I mean, so Spider-Man 4, which was originally supposed to happen with the villain being Vulture, so I wonder how they're going to change it, or what they're going to do, or what's going to happen there. Something. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
I know that'd be really cool. I mean, obviously Maguire's like, probably in his 50s now. You'd have an older Peter Parker,
which is okay.
I'd imagine he'd probably be, maybe down a little bit, kind of like we saw. What's his face in Into the Spider-Verse?
Right. Peter B. Parker.
Yeah, Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of similar situation.
Something like that. Something happened to Mary Jane. Maybe they're divorced.
Yeah, maybe something not clicking. Maybe once Miles Morales comes along. I don't know why they would throw that in. But
could be. I would imagine it would end with some type of death capacity of his character.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, I mean, I would definitely. I mean, all the millennials would come out for that.
Yeah,
all the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fans would definitely.
And it doesn't just sound like a cash grab. If what's his face? If Raimi's coming back too. I feel like. Indiana Jones, I mean, Mangold's not bad, but I mean, if you bring back the original director, like, it doesn't just feel like another attempt, to make a bunch of money.
I mean, what would have happened if they brought Spielberg back for
exactly, bro? Like, and he's still making bangers. He
is.
Freaking Fablemans was fire, but I don't know, dude. I would love to see this. Really,
I would absolutely. I mean, I think you're right. It would do really well at the box office. People would come out to see it. I just think it'd be kind of cool if we got imagine if they capitalized on the idea of Deadpool 3 and then had Tobey Maguire cameo, hyping it up and have him interact with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. How crazy!
They come into his universe or something.
I mean, that was the original plan.
Yeah,
that was the original idea.
They were going to throw everything together,
right?
Yeah.
So that would have been really cool to see as well. But who knows? Maybe this will happen. Maybe it won't. It could be. But Thomas Haden Church, I think that is his name.
Yeah,
right?
Thomas Haden Church.
He's down for it. So maybe we should be too. So
let's go, baby.
Now that's pretty much it for the news, unfortunately. But now we're going to get to something really, really fun. And this does. I mean, it does go with our genres and what we cover, but it doesn't as well. But it's just for fun. We're going to enjoy it. Me and Nathan are huge animated film fans. We love animated movies. I mean, they're great. I mean, you can't deny that.
They're amazing.
So we're going to do me and Nathan's top 10 animated movies of all time.
Personal. Well, is it personal or
it's personal? I mean,
personal with the little side of what we think is
best and favorite. Right?
Yeah.
It has the best and favorite attitude to it.
Obviously, the best of our favorites.
It's not like every movie's going to be an anime on here because I don't have any animes on here.
I know. Listen, man, I want to apologize to the anime community.
I know.
I know they've made a lot of absolute bangers that are well deserving, but my list is very lacking in that department.
Me too. But these are some movies. These are classics. These are really stuff that give you in the well. I mean, animation's not a genre. That's what so many people forget. Yeah. It's its own branch of film.
It's its own art,
right? Because
style.
Yes, it is stereotyped to be family friendly, comedy, funny for the family genre. But no, I mean, there's so much more to animation. I mean, they do so many different things with.
You can get away with a lot more.
Oh yes, you can do so much with it.
And that's why, obviously, it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, it can be. It takes a long time.
I know.
Depending on how you make it. So before we get into our official top 10, let's hit us some with honorable mentions because there's so many out there. We have to have a few honorable mentions. You want to go first?
Ooh.
First honorable mention. This is not in the top 10.
Listen, man.
Was that close?
I'm just going to start with what I think is going to be the most controversial honorable mention. And I'm putting the first Toy Story barely outside the top 10.
You didn't put it in the top 10.
I didn't. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
But it's not one of my personal favorites. And
it's personal.
I do think it's better than at least one at least one on my list, but I don't
Yeah.
love it. But I will say I'm leaving Toy Story out of this one.
That's wild. That is actually really wild.
And that's
here.
obviously the best. I feel like of the whole.
Yeah.
It's not trilogy. It's a quadrilogy.
It is a quadrilogy. And
is that actually what it is? A quadrilogy?
I don't know how you do it. What do you call it?
I don't know either.
And they're about to be a fiveology. I don't know.
Fiveology, family, a sexology.
Copyright it. All right.
But Toy Story.
That's wow.
Yeah,
all right.
I know.
All right. My first honorable mention, I have. Let's start with one that I know is probably on your list. The Incredibles. That's an honorable mention. It didn't make my list. And as a superhero fan, I love it.
The girl. I really think that might be the greatest superhero movie of all time. But that's actually no. I take that back. Dark Knight, but then Incredibles.
The Incredibles is great,
Incredibles.
but it did not make my list.
Okay, I am surprised to hear that. I am also leaving out Kung Fu Panda.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Listen, man, Kung Fu Panda has one of the coolest, trilogies, animated trilogies out there. The first one's phenomenal. Second one's phenomenal. Third one is still pretty good. But I couldn't, in good conscience, put it above some of these other ones.
Wow. So. I'm curious to see what your list is now because, I'm scared.
I'm kind of scared too, to be honest.
My next honorable mention is Sing 2, an underrated movie, man.
Yeah, it doesn't get talked about enough.
It was great. Like I saw it twice in theaters.
We were sitting there just crying, two grown men.
We saw it watching it, and we came out of that theater. I remember being like, dude, that was so good.
Dude, every time freaking Johnny, he's singing that one song, and he's fighting his dance instructor.
And when the Halsey sung her song, that was also
I know,
fire.
She's like floating around, fighting aliens. Man,
that movie's
good. Emotional.
I couldn't bring myself to put it in the top 10, but I love that movie, so I had to give it an honorable mention.
Another honorable mention I got is The Bad Guys. This is probably my favorite animated movie of last year.
Yeah.
Dude, DreamWorks makes bangers. This one was original. It was really heartfelt, funny, and it just clicked really well, and I love the style of animation.
Okay. Coming up with that, this may be controversial for a lot of people out here, especially in our genre of discussion. I have Spider-Man Into and Across the Spider-Verse as honorable mentions. Yeah. Listen, I love these movies. They're both really great, but some of these other classics that I have in my list, I just couldn't put this in there. Yes, I may could have put it at 10, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. As much as I do love them, they were very close to being on it, but they didn't make it.
Yeah, and plus, they're pretty new and they haven't withstood the test of time.
Right, and I tried to get
ones.
a little bit older ones, but then there were some that are newer on my list that made it. But
I also have Across the Spider-Verse. Outside, I do think in the end, it could definitely be on this list.
It could be
with how time receives it, but right now, considering it just came out a couple months ago, and I couldn't put it on there.
It's wildly currently the highest rated anime movie of all time.
I know,
that's wild. Which is wild. That's wild. I do still think it's the best made, like as an animation style and the creativity that went into that movie, animated movie. But it's not in there yet.
Yeah.
My last honorable mention I have, this may be controversial to a lot of people too, but I have Monsters Inc. This movie's good. Like this is probably my 11 or 12, but it's a great movie. It's a classic. It's amazing. I could watch it again and again and again, but it didn't quite make my list.
Yeah. Listen, Michael, I think we're on the same train because that was my final one too. Monsters Inc. Like you said, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, obviously, as a kid, you don't really understand what's going on. It has that whole kind of evil corporate thing going on. That I really feel like it works really well for adults, and the movie's perfect. I can't really put any flaws with it, but I just enjoy some of these other movies better. So we're leaving out Monsters Inc.
All right, so now we're gonna get into it. So you want to start? Or you want me to start?
Yeah, I'm gonna start
with number 10.
Number 10. So number 10, I wanted to kind of throw in a curveball. This one is completely different than all the others. It comes from a totally different universe.
Yeah,
and it's also a relatively new one. And it's Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1. So, like I said, you could definitely argue that Toy Story is better, that Kung Fu Panda is better. I think this is the best DC animated movie. It's one of my favorite adaptations of Batman. The cast is stacked. Jensen Ackles does a great job. I think the pace of this movie works amazing. I think the plot works really well too. And most of the times we got two parts. Part 1 just essentially just kind of feels like a build up to a big conclusion in Part 2. I feel like that's the opposite here. Part 2, in my opinion, kind of drags on. But Part 1 works really well in and of itself as a complete movie with no real flaw. So that's probably one of my favorite, at least DC movies in general.
That's really interesting to say that because a lot of people probably haven't seen that one. So if you haven't seen it, I've seen it as well. It is really good. It's not my top 10, but
I had to throw a curveball in there somewhere.
It's good. All right, from my number 10, and this may be, a lot of people will be like, oh man, all them honorable mentions and you got this one in your list. But I absolutely love this movie, man. I was probably 10 years old when this movie came out in 2012. I loved it.
Okay.
And that being Wreck-It Ralph. I love Wreck-It Ralph.
I watched it like last week with my wife.
It's so good. It stands on its own. I mean, had an incredible voice cast. John C. Reilly killed it as Ralph. And just the story of it and the ending always gets me emotional too when he's, having to punch that volcano, the Mentos and stuff. He's like, it's okay to be bad. And that gets me every time and gives me chills. And it's a great movie with a great villain and a great story. And it's definitely one of the most underrated anime movies out there.
I completely agree. The animation holds up amazing to this day. 13 years later.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know, just the whole theme about, identity. Like, he's technically the bad guy, but he wants to be good. Technically like kind of like a Ratatouille theme.
Right.
Like you're not confined to just that.
Yeah.
If you have the skills, the desire, you can be something else. Yeah. So listen, that's definitely a sleeper.
I love this movie. It's very underrated. So that's my 10.
Okay, I respect it. Number 9. This movie came out in 1937.
Oh, wow. You're going old school.
Disney's first.
Oh, really?
Snow White.
You have Snow White on
I'm going
there.
Snow White. I think Snow White's a masterpiece. And mainly this is here because, it was like that first big, it
was probably the first big
movie.
featured film.
Exactly. That opened up all the doors to the others.
Right.
I mean, these artists were like sketching everything by hand,
took a lot of work.
Freaking pens and paper. I mean, pencil and paper. But Snow White is amazing. Like I said, the animation holds up to this day as a phenomenal music, phenomenal voice acting. But like, dude, it's made in 37, bro. And like, it's still a masterpiece. So like I said, I have to go with the movie that kind of kicked off all the other ones.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
That's an interesting pick. Okay. All right. I can see that. Coming in my number 9, I have just incredible. It's funny. It's great. It's Despicable Me. I love Despicable Me.
I didn't think about Despicable Me.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I mean, Steve
the first
Carell,
one is so good.
Oh, it's so good. The first one. And
exactly.
The first one.
Just the first one.
Yeah. Steve Carell kills it as Gru. Gotta love the Gorals and all the other establishments, and you gotta love Vector.
Vector is the
best villain
greatest
animated
villain
all time. Man, he's hilarious. This movie is probably one of the funniest animated movies I've ever seen. It's so funny. It stands up. I was 8 years. I mean, especially like as an 8-year-old watching that movie, you're all in.
Yeah.
And I watched it when I was.
It
was just such a fun time, and I keep going back and watch that movie again and again. I can actually see it right there on my movie counter. So. Love This Book With Me, number 9.
Listen, man, that's a really good pick. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't think of that one. My number 8, I'm going to go with Finding Nemo.
Oh, wow.
So this is a movie that I don't love as much as some of the other ones, but I admit that it's a lot better. I think Finding Nemo, quality-wise, is up there with the best of the best. It's obviously, everyone knows, it's an awesome movie about, family, a dad losing his son, and the lengths that he'll go in a dumb fish, and then he's on the way to go get him, a journey of friendship and stuff like that. So also a warning, like, bro, listen to your parents, bro. Like, if there's any kids, man, like, your parents know what's good for you. But like I said, I'm putting Finding Nemo number 8.
Okay, well, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength because at number 8, I have Finding Nemo.
Let's go,
I do.
Baby.
I love Finding Nemo. You're absolutely right. I agree with every single point that you made. I think it came out, 2002, 2003. Yeah. It was an incredible Pixar movie. Is like Pixar's second movie, I think. Is that right? Or third movie after Toy Story 2 or something like that. It's just such a good movie. It holds up today. It has a great storyline, great music, great visuals for an animated film.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Underwater shots, dude.
Plus, it was the theme of my 3rd birthday party. So shout out.
No way.
There.
Was it actually?
So 3rd or 2nd. But I love Finding Nemo. It's such a good movie. So 8 as well.
All right. Number 7. You put this one in your honorable mentions, but I'm gonna go Into the Spider-Verse. So the first time I watched this movie, I liked it, but I watched it with you actually, but I didn't really completely understand. I rewatched it within the last month, and I freaking fell in love. I had this on here primarily because this is one of the kind of the first movies to kind of establish this specific art form, right?
Yeah,
this very comic book style, and I think that we're gonna see a lot more of it in the future. Obviously, with part 2 coming out with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the bad guys later, it's becoming a really well respected art form, and this did it first and did it really well. It's a really simple story about kid, parents, typical teenage story, coming of age, but then, the older, Peter Parker kind of finding purpose and joy again, and this young 16-year-old Miles Morales. Right. I think this movie is perfect. I don't think it has too many. I guess if it's perfect, it doesn't have any flaws. It's really, really, really good. So I'm gonna put it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My number 7, I have another very much a sleeper, but this movie is just so good. That being The Prince of Egypt.
Dude,
DreamWorks.
I did not even think about that.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah, man.
It holds up. The music is incredible. It's a musical-esque movie. Has an incredible voice cast. Jeff Goldblum.
I still can't believe they got him.
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
Who else is in there? Several. Mel Gibson. Is Mel Gibson in there? I think.
I couldn't tell you.
Several good casting. I mean, the story is amazing. It's innovative. It's really an incredible movie. I mean, based on the Bible, but it's such a good movie in itself. And I really love that movie. So I have it at 7.
No way. Okay, I was not expecting that, but it's definitely well deserved. Number 6. This is absolutely one of my favorites. It's How to Train Your Dragon. Like, I think this has one of the best just musical scores.
It does.
Any
It 100%
movie.
does.
Man, watching this as a kid, dude, it had me feeling like just some type of way, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a story about, the kid living up to his, king, his dad's expectations, a story of friendship with him and his little group, and then that unlikely bond between man and animal, and kind of like just a misrepresented identity of this animal who everyone fears, and kind of that warm embrace that they and bond that they developed. I don't know. I think this movie is absolutely perfect. I do think that they kind of go down as they go along, but man, this first one really struck gold, and I can't say anything bad about it. Plus, Rough Nut, Tough Nut, dude, had me freaking crying, hilarious, bro, every time I watched the movie.
How to Train Your Dragon should have been on my honorable mentions. It's not on my list. It is a great movie. I completely agree. I really love it. I don't really care for the other two, but I really like the first
don't
one.
either.
All right, coming at number 6 is, I mean, this is just, it's my, well, it's up there for Disney movie wise. It's such a good movie. Yeah. And that being Tangled. That's my number 6. Oh, so good, man.
Yeah, dude, Tangled's
so
a
good.
banger.
I mean, Tangled, came up with Flynn Rider, one of the best animated characters ever.
Yeah, I wanted to be him so bad.
Man, right?
As a kid, yeah.
He was great.
Flynn Rider.
Zachary
Levi,
right? He voiced him, and
yeah.
he killed it in that role. And just the whole movie with Rapunzel and the story and the plot of her, coming to terms with, I can be in control of my own life instead of being trapped in this tower, and her finally getting out of it and realizing that it wasn't actually her mother who was keeping her there, and all this beautiful stuff, that she was actually the princess. It's just an incredible story. They did a really great job reimagining the Rapunzel story. I mean, it's a classic fairy tale, but this did it better than it ever been done before, and it's just such a good movie with a great music. I See the Light. I listen. That's probably my just day-to-day playlist.
That song is a banger.
So good, and just among with like the Kingdom Dance is also just some fabulous score. I love it. 6 is Tangled.
All right, coming in at my number 5. Ooh.
It gets harder. It gets harder.
Yeah, this is definitely
Top
tough.
5.
I'm going to put, and I know this will be very controversial, I'm going to go with Lion King.
Oh, wow.
At number 5. This
low.
is also a similar situation to Finding Nemo, where I don't think I enjoy it as much as I should, due to its quality. I think Lion King is absolutely perfect. It's hilarious. Phenomenal score, phenomenal visuals, even though it's like made in the late 70s.
1994.
Was it 44?
94.
Oh, I thought it was like 78.
No, it was in the 90s.
For real?
Yeah.
Dude, I could have swore.
Golden Age Disney. It's 94.
Never mind then. Anyway, dude, Lion King, I'm putting at number 5.
Okay, that's low, but okay. Yeah. Coming in number 5, this is a newer movie, I think 2019, but I fell in love with this movie when I first saw it, and that being Klaus. Netflix's Klaus.
Yeah.
Such a good movie, man. I watch this every year around the Christmas time, and it has an incredible story, telling the story of, a different perspective of like Santa Claus, but it's not Santa Claus. It's a completely new and different perspective of it all. And it just from the music to the story to the the themes, like it had one of the greatest plots. You follow this mailman who comes and he's very much not very likable. He's arrogant. He's cocky. He's rich. He's all of these things like you don't like. And then he progressively changes and has one of the best character developments I've seen when he meets Klaus, and all of this stuff, and just turning this town that's evil and feud around to good and to love and all of these things. It's just such a good movie that really holds up year to year. I recommend anyone to watch around the holidays. It's just such a good movie that I would recommend to anyone anytime. And it's not only one of my favorite anime movies, it's one of my favorite movies ever.
Really?
So that's number 5.
I did not know that, and I did not expect to hear that. And my number 4, I'm going to go Tangled. I think this is my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah, so
I
good.
completely agree with everything you said. One of my favorite parts is the villain, Mother Gothel.
Yeah,
is
she's good.
At the same time, very comforting but terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously,
Mother knows best.
Everyone wanted to be like freaking Flynn Rider, right, as a young teenage boy. The visuals are beautiful. Obviously, they hold up great to this day. Like you said already, the soundtrack is amazing. The story, it's a typical Rapunzel, but it's so good. It's so done good. So well. I think it's done the best in this here case. So shout out Tangled. Dude.
Oh yeah,
that's like low-key like my guilty pleasure movie. I don't walk around really telling people that I love Tangled because I feel like it has a certain connotation to it. Like, oh, you're a girl. Like, I love the movie.
I mean, Flynn Rider. I mean, come on.
Flynn Rider.
It's like, that's why we watch it.
Watching like Barbie just for Ryan Gosling.
Exactly. Exactly. Coming at number 4, that's my Kung Fu Panda. Man, I love Kung Fu Panda, man. This came out like 2008. Yeah. Jack Black kills Angelina Jolie. So many Jackie Chan. So many other incredible voice actors. Dustin Hoffman. Incredible voice cast, but just such a good movie. And I would go to say that this is the best animated trilogy of all time as well. I don't think there's really any others that really kind of go together. Like
how many even are there? There's How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Cars has
3. Well, Shrek has 4, so you can't really.
Plus, it wouldn't be up there anyway, man. It really
because it falls off the third and fourth one. But Kung Fu Panda, I really genuinely think is the best animated trilogy out there. I think the movie itself is one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's so good. Has a great story, great villain. You go from, it's hilarious. I mean, you have Po, who's just, he can't do anything pretty much. And then he learns Kung Fu and he becomes the best. And it's such a good story. And they all, really genuinely feel like they love Po as the story goes on. It's just an amazing story. I have it at 4.
That really does warm my heart. Number 3, breaking into the top 3, I'm going to go with WALL-E.
Okay.
I'm going with WALL-E. I feel like WALL-E's message, kind of its warning, just applies more and more. It's more and more relevant, I think, as time goes on. Just like the easy access to basically anything that humans want, like, is gonna be bad for us. And then,
right.
Obviously, everyone's big, everyone's in chairs, this whole life that we've ruined the earth. I mean, that could possibly happen if, things went that way. But I don't know, dude. It's just beautiful, bro. Yeah. Just the space shots of just an uninhabited Earth, just one robot. It hits me so hard, and it gets me probably more emotional than any one of these movies. I gotta go WALL-E top 3, baby.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, WALL-E, I agree, it's visually incredible. The story is great, but I just personally never really got into it. I just never did. Watching it when I was younger, I thought when I was younger it was boring, and then rewatching later, I was like, it's a good movie, but at the same time, it just takes a while to get into it. There's not a whole lot of dialogue, and which is not necessarily a bad thing. I just never really got into it, so it didn't really cut it for me. But coming at my number 3, I have, this is top 3. It's one of the best anime movies ever. It's an incredible movie. And I have Shrek 2. Oh, I love Shrek 2, man. Shrek 2 is just it's perfect. It really is. It has no flaws. I mean, the fairy godmother, incredible villain, Prince Charming, hilarious. The whole story, Donkey, Puss in Boots, Fiona, Shrek. Incredible characters. It changes what you think of fairy tales, and like if they all were together in this one universe. It's so great. I love Far, Far Away and the whole storyline there. And it's really, to me, it's one of the better sequels. Like this is one of the rare occasions where the second movie is better than the first one.
Really?
So I love Shrek 2. I just had to put it at number 3.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I didn't even think about the Shreks when considering, but I will say I do think the first is better.
Really?
I love Lord Farquaad, and I think the simpler plot works for it, but I respect it. Number 2, baby, I love this movie, and if it gives you a hint, bro, I straight up ate a whole freaking package of linguine watching this movie, and that's none other than Ratatouille. Bro, I freaking love Ratatouille. Ratatouille, in my eyes, has no flaws. It's a movie about a freaking rat who wants to be like a chef at one of the top restaurants in the world. Yeah. I mean, rats are discarded as the dirtiest, the lowest of the low, and he wants to be in this huge position, and he has a gift for it. So seeing him just kind of come together with like a nerdy kid who has no talent whatsoever, it's beautiful. The plot is perfect. The villain, freaking amazing. I don't know. It's interesting just to see the whole difference between the rats' lives and humans' lives and how that kind of comes together at the end. The food critic, bro, I swear I saw somebody the other day that looked just like him. But he's terrifying, but yet, I don't know, just like comforting, even as a kid. Yeah. bro, and the visuals, bro, freaking like Paris. I don't know, man. It's just something else. And that one scene, bro, when freaking Remy, he's like tasting the cheese and you're like grape,
all the colors,
and he's seeing it,
and
bro.
They put them together.
That scene is beautiful. That's cool. One of my favorite scenes ever. I just love that.
It's fun.
It's a comfort movie, but man, I really think Ratatouille is a top 2 movie.
Okay. Coming in my number 2, it's one of the best. It was, the first Pixar movie. It was one of the best movies out there, not even in animation, but I mean, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Toy Story.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, growing up, Toy Story was everything. Woody is still to this day my favorite animated character there is.
Yeah.
I love Woody. I love Toy Story, the world of Toy Story. I mean, most of their movies hold up. I mean, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, and then Toy Story 4 is okay. But they're all just very, very incredible, comforting movies. They're ones I can always go back to. They have a great story. They have a simple story, with jealousy and themes of that, but realize themes of love and acceptance and all of these other things that are just really needed in society. It's so cool to see that in the life of toys. And whoever came up with the idea of just toys coming to life is just a child and imaginative as it comes. That's such an incredible story and plot and original. And whoever came up with that, hats off to them.
Yeah, give that man a raise.
Oh, definitely give that man a raise.
No, he's already making millions.
I absolutely adore this movie. It's not only in the top 10 anime movie, it's a top 10 movie for me.
Yeah.
Toy Story is number 2.
Okay. All right. And my number 1. I'm going with The Incredibles. Dude, The Incredibles. Listen, man, I'm not saying it's all because of Elastigirl, but I don't know. Dude, this is first of all, bro, I think the plot is one of my absolute favorites. As a kid, I didn't understand it. It's more suited to adults. Like, it really is. But you see how, this was a golden age of superheroes. They were well respected. Everybody loved them. Then you see kind of the fallout. They're destroying buildings. People are losing their lives. And the public turns really quickly on these heroes. So they're kind of cast out. You see Mr. Incredible, work a job in an office. And then, Mrs. Incredible, she's just chilling at home, stay-at-home mom. So just that like the routine of like everyday normal life with these superheroes. First of all, it just really resonates well and it connects. Obviously, Syndrome, the villain's great, just shows how like your previous mistakes can come back, and really haunt you. Absolutely. The villain's great. I just said that obviously, but I don't know, the whole family dynamic too works so well with your cocky, teenage son, teenage daughter, coming together. I think The Incredibles is a really a perfect movie, and I would say really outside of maybe a couple films, maybe like Logan or The Dark Knight, I think it really holds its own against other live action superhero movies. So I'm gonna go Incredibles number 1.
Okay, all right. My number 1, of course, is anybody who knows me knows I love this movie. That's The Lion King.
Yeah,
number 1 for me. It's so good, man. I mean, from the music. I mean, Hans Zimmer, dude. I mean, Hans Zimmer on an anime movie.
I still have a hard time.
So incredible. And then you have like other incredible, like Can You Feel the Love Tonight, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, Circle of Life, and Hakuna Matata. So many, such a great soundtrack. The best Disney movie. So good, so funny, like you said. Pumbaa, all of these characters. Yeah, Pumbaa, great. Legend. I mean, Scar, what an incredible villain. Be Prepared. I mean, it's an incredible movie. I mean, it's the best Disney movie in my opinion, and the best animated movie in my opinion. I just love this movie. I mean, growing up as a kid, it's the only anime movie that I cry every single time that I watch. Every single time. Mufasa's death scene is just so brutal, hurts, man. Dude, hurts because I mean, it's Darth Vader dying, man. I know. Again, but it's brutal, and just the storyline. It's based off Hamlet, the Shakespeare play, and
it's great about lions.
And the way that they changed it over is creative. It's new. It's fun. It's good, and I can't help loving this movie so much, and it has such a special place in my heart. That's my number 1.
I respect it. All
right. Well, do we have time for Matt Reeves, or we?
I saw we got time.
We'll do one.
Why
not?
Why not?
We'll do one round.
Well, maybe just one.
Matt Reeves.
I'm surprised by that, man. You could have really expanded that to like freaking 15, 20 different movies.
Oh yeah. There's so many good anime movies out there, man.
I know,
it's
bro.
Just such a good genre. Well, it's not a genre.
Yeah.
Such a good version
that
of film.
golden age, from like the late 90s.
80s,
to
90s,
to
early 2000s.
Early 2000s, dude, was money.
So good, man.
Money.
All right, so Matt Reeves' Batman helmet, who would most likely to win in a fight? For my character, I've drawn Black Canary.
Brother, your Bat Canary is in trouble because I drew Batman with prep.
Oh no,
Batman with prep solos.
He solos everyone.
Dude, Thanos, bro. Doesn't
no chance.
matter.
Oh man, Black Canary. I'm so sorry. I mean, because he'd have his own sound device that would just absolutely rip her in
He'd
half.
just walk and just like cancel out her frequencies with one of his frequencies.
That's hilarious. Batman with prep. You're right.
Batman with prep.
Anyone.
Dude, it's like how long can we go with Batman with prep? Like Dark Side, I don't know. This Batman with
he
prep.
could beat Darth Vader. With
He could beat Darth Vader, bro. Who says he can't learn how to use the Force, bro? He has prep.
he would pick up Mjolnir.
Exactly. Probably, dude.
Training.
I wonder if you'd be worthy.
I don't know. That's
sorry,
hilarious.
Black Canary. You're cool though.
Oh man,
you're definitely cool. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know by giving us a review and a download. Our podcast Here's in the Moment is available everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead and check that out. If you want to stay up to date with our social media, check out our Instagram, Heroes in the Moment.
and we just want to thank you guys for listening. And as always, we love you 3000.